Hello, everyone. Welcome to another vlog. Behind me in this bank looking building, sorry, there's a truck. Behind me in that bank looking building is a retro video game store that I thought I'd check out, see a little blast from the past. Admittedly, I don't know a ton about video games. We had a Nintendo when I was a kid, the original. That's how old I am. My cousins had the Super Nintendo. We play that. Familiar with Mario. Familiar with, oh god, this is so dated, but like we used to play Duck Hunt. We did play Mario on the Super Nintendo. I had a Wii. I've had video games through the ages. I'm just not that well versed in them. But anyway, thought it'd be interesting just to see what they have in store at this place. It's called the Retro Turbo Fix 2, I believe. Anyway, let's go inside and see what they have in store. Little blast from the past. All right, so it is the Retro Fix Turbo 2. Sign says it right here. Like I was saying, there was a lot of music blasting, so we're going to voice over this whole thing. But you actually walk upstairs, you can see some of the displays they have here. And once you're inside, it is just loaded with vintage video games themselves, collectibles, stuffed animals, various consoles, and just many, many games, unsurprisingly. It's just shelves and shelves for all the different consoles. Some of these I've actually played before, so there's that. But a pretty cool setup overall in this store, and we'll go through some of the specific games that they have here. But first, they do have on the display cabinets video game, uh, sign displays, which I thought was pretty cool. Street Fighter mentioned, Super Nintendo and Genesis, just all the original things. We had this one, the original Nintendo, which is how old I am, and of course they have the Sega Genesis, and then they have various other things, Xbox, everything. Wii. I used to have this exact Wii. I used to play the bowling game on it all the time. But like I mentioned too, there's all these various displays. I have to admit, I don't know what all these things are, but they do have a lot of them. But I did notice there's Street Fighter in the corner here. So they did have those. Don't remember the names, but Street Fighter. And then various Mario figures as well. We'll go into some more of those in a little bit. Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. Can't go without that. And then Blast from the Past, they had Kirby. Like I kind of forgot about Kirby until they had some of these Kirby items here, and there's another one that we'll see pretty soon. But it's like, oh yeah, Kirby, that was a thing. The Genesis games are interesting because they look like VHS tapes. So they have this Aladdin one, which I mean, for back then, these graphics actually look pretty good. At least I thought so. But I didn't realize like Genesis they look a lot like old VHS tapes. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, they had quite a few, including Jeopardy itself. I think it's coming up over here. Yeah. So they had Jeopardy, very old school. Alex Trebek of the early 90s era. But yeah, they had that one. I was looking for Wheel of Fortune, but no luck. They did not have that. Let's put that back. And then they had the Caesar's Palace one, which is kind of funny. I was like, wait, what is this? But it's just a bunch of gambling games, unsurprisingly. But you had to like get that separately back then. And then this was kind of funny. They had California games. So it's amp up, get weird, dude, turf to surf. Thought this was kind of funny. It's all like beach games. I was just wondering like what are the California games? But of course it's like early '90s interpretation of California. But yeah, it was just interesting seeing this whole setup. And then another Disney game, they had The Lion King. And again, I was like, well, these graphics actually look pretty good for the mid '90s. So yeah, I really struggled putting these games back, as you could see. But yeah, quite a collection here. They also had the Jungle Book. I was just looking at all the Disney ones. And once again, I was like, well, graphics look better than what you would think, but I've said that for every single thing. So we'll move on now. They did have, look at this, the Three Stooges Nintendo game from way back. I could be kind of curious what you would do in that game, but they had that one.
kind of interesting things. Of course, baseball, golf, Super Bowl of the past. Yeah, lots of Nintendo games around here. And then they had oh, Anticipation. Yeah, I remember that game. Old school, very old. Skate or Die, pretty aggressive. And then they had so we had this when I was growing up. Again, this is how old I am. The world class track meet, and we had that power pad, and we would definitely cheat and jump off the numbers, like step off the pad for like long jumps and then jump back on. Little pro tip for anyone who still has a power pad from like 1990. That's the way you could beat the game. But we used to play that all the time. Pictionary, and they have a Simpsons Super Nintendo game, Bart's Nightmare. Seems interesting. Never played that. Of course, Street Fighter games takes you way back. But yeah, all the Super Nintendo. We didn't have a Super Nintendo, but my cousins did. Oh, and then the Game Genie. Remember this commercial? And I always wondered what it was and if it was even a real thing. But there it is. They have a Game Genie. I kind of remember that. But yeah, interesting things on Sega Genesis games like NBA Jam, some kind of racing game. But unsurprisingly, a lot of Blast from the Past games. And then they had, of course, Rock Band equipment. My friend Miguel, if you're watching this, I remember he was really good at Rock Band, from what I recall. But here you go, the whole display. I was terrible at this, like not terrible, but pretty bad at every instrument. And then they have that Channel 3 bag. I found a Pokemon. There he is. Pretty easy to find. Pretty large one, but there he is on a shelf. And then they had a Pokemon trainer guess game, and I was like, wait, what is this? But you like guess the Pokemon type. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, what does this do? But they have that too. So there you go. Then Game Boy. I always wanted a Game Boy ever since Home Alone. Never had one, but they have all these different games. They have a Batman game, two Ninja Turtle games, definitely of the era, Final Fantasy, and then Kirby, like I mentioned, which I totally forgot about. But Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby and Tumble, and then Battletoads. I kind of remember the commercial for that. Punisher, yeah, Mega Man. I remember that. Blast from the Past again, just like all of these things are. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And then it kind of like I got less familiar as you move down. Castlevania. Um, and then they had this Zelda entire complete pack for $225. Looking through some of the games itself, I was like, oh, they had an Indiana Jones game for Wii. That might have been fun back in the day. Um, Maybe. If anyone ever played that, let me know. But that got my attention. Again, I mainly played bowling. And then, yeah, they have, of course, plushies, or plushes, whatever it's called. Uh, Donkey Kong, Luigi, various forms of Mario, Dr. Mario. Uh, yeah, uh, various Super Mario characters. I don't know all their names, but, they have them all. The turtle thing from the haunted house part. Yoshi, various Yoshi. Yeah, was that Yoshi? No, there's Yoshi. Uh, yeah, quite a collection of Mario related plushies, as you can see here from all the various games. Yeah, pretty extensive. And then Princess Peach in various forms, and that, you know, turtle wizard thing for Mario Party. Then they have Mario getting married, apparently. So they had that one, dressed all in white, and then Pokemon plushes, unsurprisingly. Quite a collection there. I don't know any of these. And then Kirby. There he is again. Kirby plush.
All right, well, they had some pretty interesting things overall, I thought. Some things I didn't even know existed. Of course, there's a plethora of video games, so there's going to be a lot of things that they'll have. They're still kind of blasting music now. Let's step away, but it was blasting music, so all narration the entire time. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this vlog. Hopefully it was a nice little blast from the past. I always like these retro stores. They're little, kind of like little museums in a way, little free museums. Word to the wise though, if you ever go to this one, it's very loud. They were blasting that music. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. And I also have a comedy channel. Be sure to subscribe to that as well. It will be in the description. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Please check out my other videos if you did enjoy this. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.